Imagine a spark igniting a powder keg, setting off a chain reaction of catastrophic proportions. What might happen if Israel and Iran, two formidable powers in the Middle East, were to engage in a full-blown war? This isn't just a hypothetical question. The potential for rapid escalation of violence between these two nations is real, and the repercussions could be devastating. Both Israel and Iran boast significant military capabilities. Israel, as we know, possesses nuclear weapons, and Iran, while not a nuclear power, has a well-documented nuclear program. A war would not merely involve traditional warfare. The specter of nuclear engagement looms large, and the fallout, literal and metaphorical, would be of an unimaginable scale. We're talking about significant loss of life, widespread destruction, cities reduced to rubble, and nations left to pick up the pieces. A full-scale war would not just be confined to the two nations, it's a spark that could ignite the entire region. Like dominoes falling in a line, a war between Israel and Iran could destabilize the already volatile Middle East region. The intricate web of alliances and rivalries that crisscross this region could easily pull neighboring countries into the fray, adding fuel to an already raging fire. Imagine the scene. As tensions escalate, borders become battlegrounds. The tremors of this conflict won't stop at country lines. They'll ripple outwards, reaching into the heart of nations like Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and even the Arabian Peninsula. The skirmishes could transform into full-scale battles, drawing in nations that had no initial intent of participating in the war, and as the dominoes continue to fall, we would likely see the emergence of a profound humanitarian crisis. The echoes of artillery and the roar of fighter jets would force civilians to flee their homes, seeking safety in a region engulfed by chaos. The displacement of people on this scale could result in a refugee crisis that the region and the world at large are ill-prepared to handle. Beyond the displacement of civilians, the conflict could lead to mass casualties. The human cost of this war would not be measured solely in the soldiers lost on the battlefield, but in the innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Hospitals, already strained by the demands of ongoing conflicts, would be overwhelmed. Education would be disrupted, leaving a generation of children without access to school. Essential services, the lifeblood of any society, would be crippled. Infrastructure could crumble under the weight of relentless attacks, leaving cities without power, without clean water, and without the means to rebuild. The domino effect of such a war could result in a crisis of a scale that the region has yet to witness. In the blink of an eye, the map of the Middle East could be redrawn, not by diplomats in air-conditioned rooms, but by soldiers on the battlefield. This is the potential domino effect of a full-blown war between Israel and Iran. The ripples from this epicenter of conflict could reach far beyond the borders of the Middle East. A full-blown war between Israel and Iran could seriously disrupt the global economy. Imagine the world's oil supply, the lifeblood of modern economies, being thrown into disarray. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway where a fifth of global oil consumption passes through, could become a flashpoint, leading to a steep rise in energy prices worldwide. The domino effect doesn't stop there. Economic instability could ripple through global markets, affecting everything from the price of your morning coffee to the stability of your retirement savings. In this potential vortex of conflict, the international community would surely not stand by idly. Countries around the world may find themselves taking sides, either out of political alliances, economic interests, or moral obligations. The United Nations, NATO, the European Union, and other international bodies could be drawn into the fray, escalating the situation from a regional conflict to a global crisis. The chessboard of international diplomacy could be thrown into chaos. While there would be calls for a diplomatic solution or a ceasefire, the road to resolution would be anything but straightforward. The intricate web of alliances, rivalries, and interests that crisscross the Middle East would make any negotiation a Herculean task. But perhaps the most chilling consequence of all is the risk of escalation. The Middle East is a powder keg of tension, and a war between Israel and Iran could be the spark that sets off a broader regional conflict. The activation of alliances could draw in other world powers, creating a scenario that's too terrifying to even contemplate. A full-blown war between Israel and Iran could have profound and devastating impacts, affecting not just the Middle East, but potentially the entire world. It's a stark reminder of the importance of diplomacy and conflict resolution. In an increasingly interconnected world, the ripples of conflict in one corner can create waves of chaos in another. We must never underestimate the potential global consequences of regional discord.